was a surprise. It started automatically. I don't know why it's done that. I wasn't ready. Oh dear, well I'm here now, so I might as well get on with it, mightn't I? I was going to sort out my fringe and everything. Oh well. Anyway, welcome to episode 84 of the Mouses Makes Knitting podcast. See, I'm all blah. I promise this is not going to be like last week. Don't worry or get your hopes up, depending on your point of view. I was going to put a light on and everything. Perhaps if I push the door shut a bit. Does that help? No, not really. It's a white door. I thought there might be a bit of light reflection, but no. Oh. Well. I'm all discombobulated. Hello, anyway. I might as well start by making my confession. Last week I told you that I was hoping to have my Starflake Shawl finished this week, and I'm so close, guys. So close. But no pineapple. I've been doing some actual human social interaction this weekend. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I record it on a Tuesday now because it's for some reason taking ages to upload, and if I do it on a Wednesday as I used to, I'm running out of time to get it edited and everything. Distracted myself there. Yes, so we've had visitors from Wales over the weekend that we've seen a couple of times. My best friend came round. I've done lots of actual people things, which has unfortunately impacted my knitting time. I must tell you this, I even went out yesterday, like properly out, not a visit to my consultant or to get a blood test or the 2 emergency visits to the vet that I've had to make during January, actually out, like a normal person out. For the first time since the 17th of December, and I'm recording this today on the 31st of January. Am I? Oh yes. I thought that wasn't till tomorrow. Last week I'd completely lost. Well, no, I hadn't lost. I was days behind myself, and this week I'm days in front of myself. I don't really know what's going on, which you may have noticed before now. Yes, so yesterday we went to the Wetherspoons and we went for coffee, but we ended up staying for lunch. It was really, really nice. Afterwards, we went to Superdrug. I wanted to get some facial wash, and I ended up buying some nail varnish. I don't know why I do it. I don't even know if you can see it. It's like a pale creamy pink colour, and it probably looks okay to you. I cannot put these colours on nicely. I get thin patches and thick patches, and I try and do. This is not a nail podcast. This is a knitting podcast. If you're here for the first time, I apologise. I'm on a tangent. It's best we get it out of the way now. I do it in like thin coats like you're supposed to, but it still doesn't work. But they look alright from a distance, so I'm just not going to look at them. I've also already had to pull a poppy hair out of them. I mean, come on, she's not even in here. Right, I'm going to talk about knitting now. Where shall I start? Start with my list. That would be good, wouldn't it? Since I've bothered to make one. So, my Stephen West Starflake Shawl is almost finished. I haven't bothered to put it on a separate needle today because there are now lots of stitches. So I'm afraid you're going to have to make do with what you can see. When I showed it to you last week, I don't remember if I put in a dangly? Doesn't look like I did. I was halfway through one of these wing sections anyway. I finished that. I did the corresponding one on the other side. Did this section with all the little holes and what have you. And now I'm on to the border. I've got 6 rows to go to finish the border. I'm not going to do the extended border. I'm going to do the short one. Partly because, can you see that stitch marker there? That's where I had to join on my second ball of contrast colour. So I think what I'm just going to do is do the short finish border and preserve as much of that ball of yarn as I can, because it's almost a full ball. Admittedly, I have gone down to a 3mm needle from, I think the pattern says 3.75. Yes, it does. I've got it here in front of me, so I could show you the picture before I started waffling. Too late, I'm already waffling. So, yeah. This one is, of course, with the extended border, so mine will be about half that length. What you can see here is the dark blue around the outside. Mine will be not that wide. There are options to either do the I-cord bind off in one colour or to stripe it with the two. I think I'm going to stripe it with the two. It's more work, but I think it will look nicer. It'll just make it more finished, as I'm not doing the longer border. So, yeah, nearly done. So nearly done. If I hadn't have had to do real people things, this is upside down obviously, I would have had it done and blocked and everything and probably be wearing it, because I do actually, to my surprise, love it. There was a point, and it was way before I got to the abandoned brioche. It was right back here where I wasn't very happy with my parallelograms. I said it again. That I really lost interest in it, and I persevered because I'm running a knit along, and I did actually ask my Zoom friends, is it necessary, do you think, if you're running a knit along, that you actually make the subject of the knit along? And apparently it is. So I had to carry on, but it's just as well I did, because now I love it again and I am looking forward to having it finished. Don't think I have to tell you any more about that, other than the yarns that I'm using. The purple, the very, very bright purple, this is Cascade Heritage in highlighter violet, ultraviolet. I'm going to have to find the piece of paper now. Hang on. Highlighter violet. It's lovely. It's a really lovely colour, but probably for most of us a bit challenging to wear. The other two, because I've used for my for my main colour, because of where I've put them, I've used two very similar yarns from Stash. That I only had one of each, but I didn't want to put the very strong highlighter violet just with a pale cream or, you know, an undyed yarn. So I've put it with these, and I don't know if you can see terribly well because of the light, but I think it's worked out well and I'm very pleased with it. So I think that's all I had to say about that. Once I've finished that, and I should tell you, for like good I'm just going to tell you, the Starflake is the hashtag you need just to share on Instagram. Starflake FO for your finished objects. Do not panic by the fact that I'm nearly finished. You have got till the 28th of February to finish, and if you don't finish, there will come a point, oh here she comes, there will come a point closer to that when I say just stick what you've got into the finished objects thread so that I can draw some prizes. Come on, people are waiting, there isn't time to go. I don't know what's gone on in here, but when she comes in she has to investigate everything before she'll get into her bed. Hello? Hello? It makes me nervous that at some tiny crevice or crack is a creature. I've offended her now. Oh no, no. say hello? Yes. That sort of, she does, that's kind of hello and I love you and all those cat things, or at least that's what we tell ourselves. Completely lost the thread. Yes. There's also, oh my lord, I swore it wasn't going to be like last week, and I'm slurring my words and everything. I'm going to have some more drink. I might be a bit dehydrated, and I've done a lot this weekend. I'm very tired. On Ravelry, there are also 2 threads on the Mouses Makes group page for chat and one for your finished objects. What I'm going to do when it comes to drawing the prizes, which I haven't told you about yet, I'll do that in a second, is I'm going to put all the finished objects into one hat for a prize, and all the almost finished objects into another hat for a prize, and whether they're on Ravelry or Instagram, that's the way I'm going to divide it. Finished objects prize is going to be, and I'm hoping everybody will be pleased with this, Mousewitch yarns March. I had to think about the month because we're not doing that again. March new colourways. So it will be the Year of Yarn, which is daffodil. And then there are, I think, 2, possibly 3. I should check really if I'm telling you about it, shouldn't I? Hang on, I'm going to get up close and personal and probably make a horrid scritchy noise. Right, let me look. Yeah, so it will be 4 skeins of yarn, the Year of Yarn, which is daffodil, and 3 others which are meant to coordinate with daffodil. I don't know if you've noticed that that's what I've been trying to do each month, is whatever the Year of Yarn is for that month, I've been releasing a couple of other colourways that will coordinate with it. For example, and this is your last day to order it, so if you're watching this even on the day it goes up, it's too late, I'm afraid, unless you've ordered it before and I've already got your order written in my book. I'm not dyeing it anymore. I'll put them up here. So there was the Year of Yarn colourway, which was January, obviously, and then there was Fade to Grey, which was meant to coordinate with January, and then there was Irish Coffee, again to coordinate with January, and the 3 of them should all work together in a project. They're not going to blend beautifully like a fade, but they should all work together. That's my cunning plan, and I was going to keep it quiet, but then I got a bit excited about it, and now I've told you, and I was waiting to see if anybody noticed. So far nobody has, or if they have, they haven't told me. Right, so that's the first prize, will be the 4 January, here we go again, 4 March yarns. The second prize will be a skein of yarn that I've had donated by a viewer and a friend, to be fair. She's a friend rather than a viewer. Audrey has sent me a couple of skeins of yarn to give as prizes. So I'm going to give that to the person who has almost finished. I also wanted to say that you may remember, Ewan's creaking past, you may remember that I am embarking on my Stephen West Marathon, which has become my Make 9 list for 2023. I'm not saying people have to join me, but what I'm going to do is, obviously this one is a knit along. Come the beginning of March, I'll be casting the next one on, which is Vertices Unite. Some of you may want to join me on that. What I'm going to do is, in November, after I've completed, she says, all my Make 9 for the year, so my whole Stephen West Marathon, which is Aurora Cabin, Starflake, Flying Foxtail Wrap, Vertices Unite, Slumber Shawl, and other slip extravaganza. I have got one on the needles already. A Pagona, whatever the KAL may be, or if I'm not keen on it, I have got a reserve, which is the Winter Lights shawl, and the Starflanket. I'm gonna put a hashtag up. No, I'm not actually. I don't know quite how I'm going to do this. I'll tell you about this another time because I haven't quite worked it all out. But I've been donated a very expensive set of needles by a truly lovely lady by the name of Patricia, who I know is watching. Hello, Patricia. And although it's not all in its wrapper, it has never been used. And I thought, well, that's got to be a bit of a special prize, really. I can't just, you know, give that out for making some socks. So what I thought I would do is, come November, I'll have a look and I'll see how many of you have not exactly kept up with me through the year, but joined in with me through the year. And I will definitely put on the Mouses Makes page on Ravelry, I'll put a Stephen West Marathon 2023 or something of that line, so that you can put in anything that you've made along with me, Stephen West wise, off my list in there. And you can also email me. The email address is down below, but it is just mousesmakes@gmail.com. So you can email me and let me know that you're joining in, and here is my finished object when you've finished it. And then in November, what I'll do is I'll put all your names into a hat, anyone who's kept up with me, and pull out a name for those needles. How does that sound? It's kind of a half-formed idea that I'm coming to you with, I apologise. But I think we'll do it on Ravelry and by email, because pretty much everyone can access email one way or another. And I don't really want to do it on Instagram, because I don't want people who aren't watchers of the podcast joining in just to get the needles. Does that make sense? You're unlikely to be on my Mouses Makes page on Ravelry if you're not a viewer or a subscriber or whatever. So let's give that a go. It's probably going to be chaotic, and I doubt there's anyone out there insane enough to want to keep up with me with the whole 9 projects. There are already a couple of people. One person in particular, Sarah, I'm looking at you, who are making the Aurora cabin and either the Starflake or planning to make the Starflake. So there's hope. There's hope there'll be more than just me. We'll give it a try. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll open that thread when I finish recording this. So by the time you see it, that thread will be on Ravelry if you want to have a look. Right. I hadn't planned to talk about that. That's taken up quite a lot of time. Never mind. So, once I finish the Starflake Shawl, I'm also taking part in the ABD Starflanket KAL, which runs for the whole year. But I didn't want to have them both on the needles at the same time. So this is, let's show you the back actually. This is the Starflanket. That one is obviously knit in various colours. This one is knit in sort of 4 coordinating colours, which is what I intend to do. And unwittingly, I've chosen very nearly the colours that are on the pattern. So I'm going for this colour. This is Hayfield Bonus DK. It's shade 0963. It's coming out quite pale there, but it's almost a very pale peachy colour. It's not cream, it's warmer than cream. I bought this about 6 years ago to make a cardigan to go with a summer dress, and then realised that I would look like I was naked from the waist up. So the cardigan never got made. and it's unlikely that this is going to become a garment for that reason. So I'm going to use some of it in the blanket. So I'm using this. Did I say it's the same sort of colour as Starcraft toy? I don't remember, but it is. So now you know. Then I'm using Starcraft Warm Grey. I've not had this one before. I'm not sure. I think I prefer Silver Grey. It's a cleaner colour. But that goes quite nicely with the peachy, creamy, whatever. Starcraft Graphite, which is obviously a dark grey. And then Starcraft Gold, all in Special DK. And I think that's quite a nice colour palette. And as I say, very similar to what's on the pattern. I was going to go burgundy. This was going to be burgundy. And then at the last moment, I thought I want something brighter. And I do love this gold colour. I've spoken about it before when I put it into my autumn striped sweater. It reminds me of my Nana when I was a little girl. And the Starcraft ones I have bought from Wool Warehouse with a Christmas present. I very luckily got a Starcraft voucher for Christmas. And so I mucked about for about 2 weeks with my basket, getting it to just above £25, which was what my voucher was for, and is of course the free postage cut off, but not so far over, because I kept putting stuff in there. You know what it's like. And then asking myself, do you really need that? You've just had to buy 4, if you count the long thin ones, 4 new crates, because your stash is now so big with all the yarn you're dyeing. Do you need to buy that? Or do you just want it because it's pretty? And I just wanted it because it was pretty. So I fiddled about. I managed to get my basket to £25.40, and I just pressed check out quick before I started adding anything else. So my Starflanket is kind of going to be a Christmas present, which is rather nice. I don't know what I'm doing needle-wise. I have found with the last couple of Stephen West Shawls that I've made, I've had to go down from a 3.75 on one and a 3.5 on the other. I've had to go down to a 3mm to get gauge. Obviously this is double knit. The pattern says a 4.5mm needle. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to gauge swatch. I'm probably just going to start knitting and see how it goes. I know I should gauge swatch, but it's a blanket. It doesn't have to fit anybody. I just have to be happy with the fabric that I'm getting. So what I tend to do with blankets and shawls is I just start knitting, and if I think it's too loose, I'll pull it out and go down. I might try it on a 4.5 and see how it works out. Moving on to something that I have bought myself as a present. My friend Denise, who is Dear Designs on both YouTube, Instagram, sorry, the word completely left me, has a website where she sells lovely things. And I remembered that she had these. I don't know if you can see them. And they have a ring, and they also have a lobster clasp for putting on your work so you know which side is the front. I bought 3 of them. They all say front on. Oh, how I wish I'd had these when I was doing my Starflake Shawl and I was doing the parallelograms, because they are garter stitch. And I know quite well that there was some confusion about whether I was on the front or the back. Now there will be no confusion. I'm going to stick one of these on as I'm knitting, and I will know exactly whether I'm on the front or the back. Thank you, Denise. And Denise's friend, who I think made these for her. She does have some more in the shop. She's got some that say front. When I bought these, which is a week or so ago, there was some that said whip. Might be one that said frog. Can't remember. Go and have a look. It will be linked down below. The website will be linked down below. Or was it Etsy? I think it was Etsy. Chaos is still raining. I apologise. But it didn't seem worth just buying those. So I ended up with this as well. And I don't know if you can read it. It says, it's way too peoply outside. And indeed it is, mostly. Though yesterday was alright. So I went into a charity shop. That was very peoply. It was small and it was full. I don't know why. Anyway. Immaterial. This is to go on one of my knitting bags, which is just a plain cream bag. And I've bought loads of patches and pins to put on it and never actually got round to it. It is harbouring one of my whips from last year. So when I finish knitting that, I'm going to give it a wash. It's a bit grubby being cream. It's been out in the garden and all sorts. And then I'm going to sew some patches and pin some pins on. And then it's all ready for the next thing. And then, because I was like having a look, I found some yarn. And I asked myself, Mandy, do you need any more yarn? I refer you to the conversation we had about Wool Warehouse. Do you need this yarn? And apparently I did. So here it is. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to make with it, but I love it. I love the colours. It's got a charcoaly grey, a purple, a kind of a cinnamony orange, and buried in there is like a, I don't know quite how to describe it, a pale purpley colour. Oh, it's just so pretty. I'm not going to unwind it because at the moment I can't skein things up tightly because of my wrist, so I'm not going to unskein it because it will just make a mess. But yeah, this is dyed by Denise, and oh, and that purple there is almost like a royal blue. It's so pretty. I have no idea what I'm going to make with it, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to admire it like a work of art. Nobody buys a painting and says, I wonder what I'm going to do with this, do they? They just look at it because it's pretty. So that's what we're going to do. I also had a present. I've just seen it because I turned around. Ewan came home from work with this for me the other day. Yesterday, in fact. It's a mouse. And of course, I do love a mouse. I meant to show you the mouse that I got from Amanda in my Secret Santa. A little felted mouse with clogs on. But she's upstairs, next to my bed. And I forgot to bring her down. He has a little piece of cheese, of course. And his little sticker says, Brie mine. I was going to say that's cheesy, but it is, isn't it? Literally. Oh, I love him. I'm not really a cuddly toy person, but he is a mouse. Yes. He's currently sitting there. I don't know quite where to put him to get a little bit more attention, but yeah, so he's there at the moment. Right, I have gone completely off topic. Let me look at my list of things that I was going to tell you, which are small and out of order. Ah, yes. I'm a little bit afraid to talk to you about this. You're probably all afraid as well. I'm not going to say much. I'm not going to explain. I'm just going to show you, okay? So, I'm knitting the Shortest Day shawl with scraps from my Year of Yarn yarns. We're not going to talk about how many or why or how. I have finished January. And it did a thing that I was not expecting it to do. It has striped. Which was a surprise. It's micro striped in the socks that I finished that I showed you last week. But you can't see it very well because it's curling up. But it's striped. So So now I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. I could have made a rocket tea out of that, because we know that there is a rocket tea obsession. So that's something that might happen in the future. But yeah, it's striped. Interesting, I thought. I had, if I remember rightly, about 60 grams left after my socks. So I put 40 grams into this. I was going to do less, but I just... whatever. We're not going to go there, because that way lies madness. So when I'd finished that, I had just over 20 grams. I think it was 22 grams left. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with this now? So I've started a corner to corner again. I don't know, I think a lot of you watch Alex, my Yarny Corner. She has made a couple of corner to corner patchwork blankets. I started one in my DK scraps and I didn't like the colours and I gave up on it. But I'd like to make one. I desperately want to make one, because it's really an interesting thing to make, and it's fun, it's crochet, it works up really quickly. I think this took me about an hour. I'm doing it on a 3mm hook, which is what Alex suggested for fingering weight. Alex's, I think, is 10 by 10. I've done 14 by 14 because I wasn't sure. I tried to work it out with maths and it didn't help me at all. I'm just going to say that. So I tried it. I've got 14 by 14. It's a reasonable size square. Quite happy with that. But I have just under 5 grams left. And I'm like, seriously? How am I ever going to get rid of this? So I don't know whether to do another row around, which would make it 15 by 15. And then I would know that essentially 20 grams is enough. But subsequent socks that I make may use more yarn. And then I won't have enough to do a 15 by 15 square. And then I'll come unstuck. So I think, all things considered, I'm going to leave it as a 14 by 14. Which I know is about 18 grams. And this, I'm just going to put into something else. I don't know what. It might go into my long forgotten triangulum, which I haven't touched for, well, since last May. So you could say for almost a year. That's bad, isn't it? So yeah, it would make, well, it would make one triangle. I'll see. I might just start another blanket, because let's face it, how many blankets is too many blankets? There are so many. I'm not even going to count them up. We haven't got the time for that. It'll just go into my box of minis and oddments, and something will happen with it at some point in the future. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my Year of Yarn yarns. There's going to be a wrap. There's going to be a corner to corner patchwork blanket, but that will also have other colours in it, not just my Year of Yarns. Speaking of Year of Yarns, because I've gone completely off track, the shop update happened Sunday, I think. I put in romance and passion and sky blue pink, but I also reactivated a couple of older colourways, violet, lavender and candy floss, I think. And I've also re-dyed because I didn't have one, and I have reactivated Twilight, which is a little bit lighter colour than it's showing up there. I can't really. That's a bit better. So you've got kind of a purpley blue fading to this dusky pink via some mauves and purples. So that's been reactivated. That's an old colourway that I've taken one out. I've taken Bubblegum out because I'm a bit worried it's the same as somebody else's colourway. I think it might be one of Alex's. I'm not sure. But it's also a pain in the neck to dye. So I've taken it out. I'm not enjoying it, so it's gone. Right. Did I have anything else I needed to tell you? I feel like I did. I feel like I've forgotten something because I've been all over the place. No, I don't think I did. The only thing that I meant to say that I don't think I mentioned was that the Starflanket, that's for Caroline from Aria Bark Designs, is having a year-long Starflanket KAL, and it's hashtag ADP Starflanket KAL. It's down below. I think that's everything. Okay, still nearly 40 minutes. I had nothing really to talk to you about, and I've still managed 40 minutes. So hopefully by next week I will have finished the shawl. I may have got some progress done on one of the other 3 that I have on the needles. I want to get into my shelf of shame and at least try and finish a pair of socks or something, because Karen from the Recreational Knitting Podcast is having a whip begone, which finishes on the 28th of February. And so far, I've finished no whips that were started before the 31st of December. In fact, the only thing I've finished all year so far is a pair of socks. So I really want to finish something that I can enter into that. And also, my plan was to get the whip pile down, the leftover whips. But Ewan has been hinting that he would like his fingerless gloves, socks and sweater for his reenactment before April, please. So I feel like I ought to cast on the gloves first, because they're the ones I'm dreading making the most. Probably going to take the least amount of time, but the most fiddly. So I should really get them out of the way. I do that if I've got a dinner and there's something on my plate that is not really my favourite thing to eat. I'll eat that first and then I can enjoy the rest of it. So I think I might do that. I might get those cast on this week. So I might have those to show you next week. But yeah. So much I want to do. And I just don't seem to be progressing at all. But January's been quite a busy month. February, we have Dave's birthday at the end of it. But other than that, I think it's quite quiet. So hopefully I'll make a bit more progress. Or I'll feel like I've made a bit more progress. I mean, I have knitted almost a whole shawl. So it's not like I've nothing to show for January. And a pair of socks. I just feel like... Do you ever get that kind of itchy feeling inside that you just need to be getting on with stuff and you're not, and it's really... Ugh. So I should probably stop complaining about that to you and finish this recording and then go and get on with some of the things that I want to be getting on with, rather than sitting here moaning at you that I'm not. Right. Nothing else to tell you, I don't think. Poppy's gone to sleep for the afternoon. So I'm going to go. I'm hoping the plan about the Stephen West Marathon made sense. I might put down below, I might try and put it into like proper English words for people so that they can understand a whole train of thought rather than my brain grabbing a bit from here, there and everywhere. And I will open a thread on Ravelry for anyone who wants to join in with me. And then come at the end of the year, if anyone's joined in, we'll have a look and we'll draw a name. Right. That's everything, definitely. So I'm going to go. And I'm going to say, until I see you next week, happy knitting. Weather seems a bit better. Always good. They're threatening us with another beast from the east, but the Met Office say no. The papers are very excited about it. The Met Office says no. So, I'll see you next month. Bye, guys. Hello. It's much later. You know how I was going, I'm sure there's something else I was going to tell you. Yeah, I've just remembered what it was. I mentioned it before that I was going to be opening up memberships on my Ko-fi page. It's a bit like Patreon. I have done that today. They are open, they are live. I've also, as I mentioned in the video, opened a thread on Ravelry for anyone who wants to join me in the insanity that is my Stephen West marathon this year. Yes. That is all. I must learn to write things down, mustn't I? Anyway, I am actually going now. So if the like the lip sync is all off, it's because I've added this on to the end of the video that I already did earlier. Yeah, it's much later. So sorry about that. And I will go away now and leave you alone until next Wednesday. Bye bye.